Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB and today is the 13th of February 2024 and the price of Bitcoin is definitely heading towards the moon. But look guys, here's what I think. There are CPI numbers that's going to be released later on in the day, and because of that, I wouldn't be surprised a lot of Bitcoin whales, a lot of early adopters are going ahead and manipulating the market. And let's say once the CPI numbers are out, I wouldn't be surprised if the price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies marginally tends to fall down as well, so we'll just have to wait and see. Now here's the interesting bit guys, if you look at the fear and greed index, it is definitely looking at greed, which means the general sentiment is that people want to go ahead and buy a lot of Bitcoin, and usually whenever the crypto sentiment is greed, that is when people go ahead and sell a lot of the Bitcoin because their whole mentality is that they have gone ahead and made profit. So if you look at the fear and greed index guys, right now by alternatives.me, it is at greed. And this is always associated with a number, and why alternatives.me shows as 70, and if you look at the fear and greed index via CoinMarketCap, it also shows as greed, and the number associated is 69. Now look guys, I wouldn't be surprised once the CPI numbers are out, there is a very high possibility for the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies to marginally go down, so we'll just have to wait and see I guess. Now in today's episode guys, we are going to be talking about some positive news, and that is regarding a surge in the number of validators so far as Ethereum network is concerned, so I'll definitely go and discuss why that is. The only explanation guys I can think of is probably around May 2024, there is a very high possibility of a spot Ethereum to be approved, isn't it? And that could be one of the reasons why a lot of staking is going on, and because of that the total value locked is increased. Those are my honest thoughts to be honest. And guys, we have some news from Philippines. And the Central Bank of Philippines has gone ahead and made a decision to go ahead and actively promote wholesale CBDCs. But here's the interesting bit guys, regarding retail CBDCs, looks like they're definitely not advocates of it. Now it's really important to note guys that when you talk about central bank digital currencies, there are three different types of CBDCs. Retail CBDCs are something average individuals like you and me would be using, let's say at a grocery store, at regular coffee shop, or the general form of money that we use. But when you talk about wholesale CBDCs, these are used by financial institutions and giants. So to be honest guys, working on wholesale CBDC is not a bad deal, but working on retail CBDC is definitely not ideal, and looks like that is what the Central Bank of Philippines is focusing on, so definitely good move I guess. And there's also a third type of CBDCs called as MCBDC, that is multiple CBDC, that has more to do with international transactions, so I'll definitely go ahead and touch base on news regarding Philippines. And guys, we have some numbers from Crypto.com, and few years ago guys, Crypto.com had been making massive partnership, isn't it? And that was during the bull run in 2020, and they have actually gone ahead and published some numbers stating that the partnership with Formula 1 and UFC has paid off. Now to be honest guys, I'm a massive advocate of UFC, and I haven't missed a single event since 2011. Personally, I really am not sure if Crypto.com numbers have been benefited by the partnership, but I'll definitely go ahead and share what is it they are saying regarding the numbers. So quite a lot to cover guys in today's episode, and like we do in every Crypto and Coffee Date podcast, I'm going to be discussing two news from Dubai, UAE and the Middle East. Now the first news guys has to do with Hedera, which to be honest has nothing to do with blockchain technology as such, as they use a completely different protocol, isn't it? That is directed acyclic graph and gossip protocol. But the news is that the Hashgraph Foundation has announced major partnership with the Ministry of Investment of Saudi Arabia, so we'll definitely go ahead and discuss what this news is all about. Now the second news guys is regarding an event that is taking place in Dubai that is called as the World Government Summit, and the UAE looks like they're aggressively betting on artificial intelligence, and they have actually published a report called as the US-UAE Business Council report. So I'll definitely go and discuss what the future of artificial intelligence is, particularly in the UAE. So quite a lot to cover guys in today's episode, so let's kickstart with it right away. Welcome to the Crypto and Coffee Date, the daily podcast that keeps you up to date on all latest developments in the world of cryptocurrencies, blockchain and NFTs. Join us Monday to Friday as you kick off your day with a cup of coffee and a deep dive into the exciting and rapidly evolving world of digital assets. We'll cover the latest news and trends in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space, as well as delve into the growing world of NFTs or non-fungible tokens and metaverse. Plus, we'll keep you updated on the latest developments from Dubai, UAE and the wider Middle East region. Whether you're a seasoned crypto enthusiast or just getting started, Crypto and Coffee a Day has something for you. Our expert host We'll provide insight and analysis on the most important topics in the industry and help you stay up to date on the latest developments. We'll bring you interviews with leading figures in the crypto and blockchain space and explore the ways in which these technologies are changing the world around us, from the impact on traditional financial systems to the potential for revolutionizing industries and transforming societies. We'll cover it all on Crypto and Coffee at 8. So tune in and join us for a daily dose of Crypto and Coffee at 8, and let's stay ahead of the curve together. We'll start your day off right with the most important news and insights from the world of cryptocurrency, blockchain and the metaverse, and help you navigate this exciting and rapidly evolving landscape. In Crypto and Coffee at 8, the daily podcast covers the latest developments in the world of cryptocurrency, blockchain and the metaverse. We'll also bring you updates on the latest news from Dubai, UAE and wider Middle East region. This also includes a range of topics such as developments in the local and blockchain industry, including new projects and initiatives, regulatory updates, and policies related to cryptocurrency and blockchain in the region, local and regional events and conferences focused on crypto and blockchain, interviews with leading figures in Dubai, UAE and Middle East crypto and blockchain community, coverage of any significant news or events related to cryptocurrency and blockchain in the region. By covering these local and regional developments, in addition to the wider world of cryptocurrency and blockchain, Crypto and Coffee at 8 aims to provide a comprehensive overview of the industry and its impact on the Dubai, UAE and Middle East region. Now before we kickstart today's episode, I have an important message, so check this out. Thank you to our sponsors for being part of the blockchain DXB journey. Firstly, Advanced Media. Advanced Media, guys, is the largest distributor of professional video, photo, broadcast and cinematic equipment and accessories in the Middle East and MENA region. With over 2 decades of experience, Advanced Media is now the largest distributor in the Middle East, representing more than 100 recognizable brands, including brands such as Zeiss, DJI, Hasselblad, Red and Rode. As a matter of fact, guys, the very mic that I'm recording is being sponsored by Advanced Media as well, and Advanced Media has showrooms in Saudi Arabia and services as well. Looks like they're definitely taking the Middle East by storm. And here's the beautiful thing, guys, they're taking corporate social responsibility very seriously, and they're focusing on 3 P's, that is people, planet and prosperity. Now listen, guys, if you do want to find out more information regarding the statement of corporate social responsibility, check out the website, that is www.amt.tv. And here's the beautiful thing, guys, they also want to be a leader and set an example and reputation as a pioneer and member of the community. And in doing so, guys, they also have an AMT scholarship with SAE Institute in Dubai, UAE, so definitely check it out. And also, guys, Advanced Media is committed to persistently developing, organizing and hosting training workshops, seminars and community events that educate, inform and familiarize consumers with new equipment and the latest technological advances. So listen, guys, do one thing. If you do want to support this channel, go to the website, that is www.amt.tv, and follow the social media channels as well. All of the details are in the show notes below. Next, Startup OI is global one-tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events, and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in Metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI. If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called the Race Pace Podcast. So check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And the Race Pace Podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan Race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gov Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs. And these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen, guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing, go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform and search for Rise in the Obstacle Course Race podcast. And finally, guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet. And this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in. And Ledger Wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France. And Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers two hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below. Now guys, since you've taken care of that, let's kickstart by looking at the global cryptocurrency market. Now if you look at the global cryptocurrency market, guys, it is at $1.86 trillion. And since the last 4 days, guys, looks like a lot of buying is going on, particularly in the world of Bitcoin, isn't it? If you look at the price of Ethereum or even market cap, there has not been much movement. And that is only because of spot Bitcoin ETF approval news. And in just a few months, guys, we're going to be having the Bitcoin halving as well. And because of that, a lot of people are actually anticipating that the price of Bitcoin will be heading towards the moon. But regarding this particular hype, guys, I very strongly feel because of the CPI numbers, that is the only reason why the prices are pumped up. So we'll just have to wait and see what the CPI numbers are and how the price of Bitcoin reacts to that. Now, so far as the global cryptocurrency market is concerned, it is at $1.86 trillion. And since the last 24 hours, it is up by 2.84%. And guys, if you look at the total cryptocurrency market volume in the last 24 hours, it is at $62.77 billion. And since the last 24 hours, it is up by 33.07%. Now, if you look at the total volume in DeFi, guys, it has crossed the $5 billion mark. And it is at $5.33 billion. And DeFi, guys, as of today, is accounting for 8.49% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. Now listen, guys, the numbers for DeFi are still ridiculously low, because in 2020 and the year before that, on an average given day, the total volume in DeFi used to hover somewhere between the $8 to $16 billion mark. To be honest, in 2020, guys, only on relatively few days, I used to actually see the volume in DeFi on single digits. Most of the time it used to be well over the $10 billion mark. But since January of 2022, before the collapse of Terra Luna and also before the collapse of FTX, the volume in DeFi has not been looking good at all. But here's the interesting bit, guys. Since the last few weeks, the total value locked has pumped up. And in today's episode, we'll definitely go and discuss what is going on, particularly in the world of Ethereum. And there has been a significant surge so far as total value locked is concerned. And that has more to do with validators getting into Ethereum blockchain. Now, so far as total value locked is concerned, it is at $67.43 billion, and Lido Gas is clearly dominating so far as total value locked is concerned at $24.63 billion. Now, decentralized to centralized exchange dominance, guys, unfortunately, is only at 13.02%. Now, look, guys, I've said this thing in the past as well. In order for us to gauge that the world is ready for decentralized world, we need to look at decentralized to centralized exchange dominance. Now, at this point of time, it is only at 13.02%. When we are consistently over 40% mark, that is when we can confidently state that the world is ready for decentralized exchanges and also for decentralization, to be honest. And hopefully one fine day we might reach 80%, maybe even 100%. That would be completely wishful thinking, isn't it? Now let me very quickly run through the volume of decentralized exchanges. Because Uniswap's volume is below the $1 billion mark, it is at $902.77 million. PancakeSwap, guys, is at number 2nd, and its volume is $340.72 million. Core Finance, guys, is at number 3rd, and its volume is $230.62 million. Orca is at number 4th, and its volume, guys, is $217.24 million. And finally, Radium at $185.07 million. Now look, guys, regarding this decentralized exchange, I did do a survey via LinkedIn and also in certain Telegram groups, and I did actually ask people, are they going ahead and using decentralized exchanges? And out of 70 of them, only 2 of them replied that they're using Uniswap. None of them were using PancakeSwap. None of them were using Core Finance. Now mind you, guys, the survey that I did involved only CTO, CEO and founders of DeFi projects and protocol. To be honest guys, I was expecting that number, but I was expecting at least 8 to 10 people to state that they were using decentralized exchanges. So I'm just hoping that we do not find out that these numbers are interrelated or used by one decentralized exchange with another just to pump up the volume. Now, so far as the volume of stablecoins is concerned, it is at $56.69 billion, and stablecoins, guys, is accounting for 90.32% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. And out of this $56.69 billion, Tether USDT is accounting for $44.08 billion, followed by Circle USDC at $5.73 billion and Tron USD, guys, at $96.48 million. Now, when you talk about adoption, guys, I know people in everyday walk of life who do not know much about the technical elements of cryptocurrencies, but they're definitely using Tether USDT, and this shows the power of stable coins, isn't it? So me personally, guys, in Dubai know quite a lot of businesses who are using Tether USDT on a daily basis, and it's needless to say that they are doing transactions overseas. Now guys, let's quickly run through the market cap, 24-hour trading volume and dominance between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now Bitcoin's dominance, guys, right now is 52.60%, and Ethereum's dominance is down to 16.90%. Now look guys, I'm really curious to check how the dominance is going to be impacted once the CPI numbers are out, because if you look at the 24-hour trading volume, guys, it is at $31.2 billion for Bitcoin and $10.4 billion for Ethereum. And if you actually compare it, let's say, with the volume of stablecoins and decentralized exchanges, you can clearly tell that a lot of stablecoins are being used, most likely in decentralized exchanges, to go ahead and buy a lot of Bitcoin, isn't it? So it's going to be really interesting to see what the impact of CPI numbers are. Now, if you look at the market cap of Bitcoin, guys, it hasn't improved a lot. It is only at $978 billion, whereas Ethereum is at $314 billion. Now, it could be possible, guys, if the inflation numbers are ridiculously low, the price of Bitcoin could pump up even higher, and because of that, the market cap of Bitcoin will cross a $1 trillion mark as well. Definitely a very high possibility, and to be honest, guys, that is what I'm edging towards, but we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. Now guys, before we look at the king of all kings, let me run to the king of privacy, that is Monero. To be honest guys, me personally, I think that Satoshi Nakamoto always intended Monero to be the Bitcoin. And here's what I think, guys, everyone who likes Bitcoin definitely likes Monero, but not necessarily vice versa, because when you talk about fungibility, Monero is 100% fungible, and Monero, guys, was actually launched in 2014, and its goal was simple: to allow transactions to take place privately and with anonymity. But listen guys, in my episode that I released yesterday, I did go ahead and talk some of the drawbacks of XRM or Monero, and governments all over the world can definitely go ahead and stop people from using privacy coins. They can do it indirectly by putting severe restrictions on centralized exchanges. So these are unfortunately the drawbacks of privacy coins. Now, so far as Monero is concerned, guys, let me go ahead and give out some bits and pieces of information, because the team behind Monero say privacy and security are the biggest priorities, with ease of use and efficiency coming second, and they aim to provide protection to all users, irrespective of how technology competent they are. Now, so far as the founders of Monero are concerned, guys, 7 developers were initially involved in creating Monero. 5 of them decided to remain anonymous, and there are also rumors that XRM was actually invented by Satoshi Nakamoto. But to be honest, guys, I really wouldn't depend on that. Now, so far as Monero's XRM is concerned, its origins can be traced back to Bitcoin, which was a privacy-focused and decentralized cryptocurrency that was actually launched in 2012. And 2 years later, guys, a member of the Bitcoin Talk forum, only known as Thankful Today, forked Bitcoin's codebase, and Monero was actually born. And there was a lot of drama regarding the founder of Bitcoin and the team with Monero, and that's one of the reasons why they went ahead and decided to have a fork. And they had actually suggested controversial changes to Bitcoin that others in the community disagreed, and they decided to take matters into their own hand. Now, over the past years, guys, it is actually believed that there are hundreds of developers who have contributed to XRM or Monero. Now, let me very briefly run through what is it that makes Monero private. Now, mind you guys, the information that I'm giving out is directly via coinmarketcap.com, but what you can do is you can go to getmonero.org, and they've got teeny tiny videos explaining how to go and get started with Monero and basic level information as well. And if you do want to get any information regarding Monero, I would strongly recommend you to look at getmonero.org. But look guys, in my episode yesterday, I did actually state that so far as Dubai is concerned, dealing with Monero is kind of restricted, so I wouldn't urge you to go ahead and buy or sell, or maybe even have a meetup event regarding Monero. But I thought, let me go ahead and explain what Monero is, so at least you are aware of some of the technical elements of Monero. So the big question, guys, is what is it that makes Monero private and what is it that makes them unique. Now, so far as what is it that makes Monero private, it's really important to understand that users shouldn't view all privacy cryptocurrencies as interchangeable or equivalent services because they don't all achieve privacy in the same way, isn't it? For instance, guys, Monero should be considered a technology that, when used properly, obscures user data on the blockchain, making it harder to identify its users. So the big question, guys, is what is it that gives Monero value, isn't it? And the answer is pretty simple, guys. The secrecy and anonymity offered by Monero are what most users find it valuable. It gives people the freedom to conduct transactions anytime they want for any purpose without being concerned about being watched by the government or even hackers or any outside parties, and the coin, that is XRM coins, cannot be traced. That is the beauty of it. Thus, they cannot be blacklisted for businesses for alleged illicit connection. But listen, guys, governments can definitely go ahead and put strong restrictions, and they can also go ahead and state that if you have gone ahead and used Monero, it is considered as an illegal transaction, isn't it? That is unfortunately the notorious power of governments. Now, so far as Monero is concerned, guys, investors who think that demand for privacy will rise in the future are raising the price and total market cap of Monero, and they may actually find value in Monero in addition to its use as a medium of exchange. So the big question, guys, is what is it that makes Monero unique? Now, there are several things that make Monero unique. One of the project's biggest aim is achieving the greatest level of decentralization possible, meaning that the users don't need to trust absolutely anyone to use the network, and privacy, guys, is achieved through few distinctive features. But let's say in case of Bitcoin, guys, every Bitcoin in a way has some kind of serial number, meaning that the cryptocurrency can be easily monitored. But in case of XRM or Monero, guys, it is 100% fungible, and by default, guys, details about senders, recipients, and even the amount of crypto being transferred are obscured. And Monero advocates do actually say that this offers an upper hand over rival privacy such as Zcash, which are selectively transparent. Now, if you go to YouTube, guys, roughly around 2017, there were a couple of debates that were going on between Zcash and Monero. It is highly technical, but I'll definitely recommend you to go and check it. Now, so far as privacy is concerned, guys, it is achieved through use of ring signatures. So what happens is past transactions outputs are picked from blockchain and act as decoys, meaning that the outside observers can't tell who signed it. So let's say, guys, if Biden were to send 200 XMR to President Trump, this amount could be split into random chunks to add a further level of difficulty, and to ensure that transactions cannot be linked to one another, stealth addresses are created for every single transactions that can only be used once, and all of these distinctive features, guys, have been led for XMR being increasingly being used for illicit transactions instead of Bitcoin, especially on darknet markets, and governments around the world, especially in the US, have also offered hundreds of thousands of dollars to anyone who can crack Monero's code, but unfortunately no one has been able to do that. Now, so far as the tokenomics is concerned, guys, Monero is slightly unusual as the token sale wasn't held on XMR, and no tokens were pre-mined either. So if you do want to go ahead and check how many circulations are in place, you can actually go ahead and do that looking via coinmarketcap.com. Now, Monero, guys, is designed to be resistant to application-specific integrated circuits, also called as ASICs, which is commonly used for Bitcoin mining, isn't it? So in theory, guys, this means it can be possible to mine XMR using everyday computing equipment, so they are definitely sticking to the guns of decentralization, isn't it? Now, overall, guys, there will eventually be only a total of 18.4 million XMR in circulation. Now, let me just very briefly run through how the Monero network is secured, because one of Monero's goals has to prevent centralization, and this network, guys, uses consensus mechanism called as Kryptonite, which is based on proof of work, and this prevents large mining farms from becoming a dominant force. So what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, on YouTube, there is a series of episodes called as Breaking Monero. It is extremely technical, but I'll definitely recommend you to go and check it, because Monero, guys, uses proof of work algorithm, RandomX, to validate transactions, and this method was introduced in November 2019 to replace the former algorithm called as Kryptonite R, and both were designed to be ASIC resistant. Now, Monero, guys, can be mined somewhat efficiently on consumer grade hardware such as x86 and x86-64, ARM, and GPUs, and the desired decision was based on Monero's opposition to mining centralization that ASIC mining creates. However, guys, it has also resulted in Monero's popularity among malware-based non-consensual miners, and in October of 2021, the Monero project also introduced P2P pool, which is essentially a mining pool running on sidechain that gives participants full control over the node, as also with solo mining configuration. Now look, guys, if you're into cryptocurrency, if you're into privacy, Monero is definitely a cryptocurrency that you need to check it out. But as I mentioned, guys, in my episode yesterday, governments aggressively go ahead and seeking to go ahead and ban privacy coins. So those are some basic level information, guys, regarding Monero. So let me know, guys, what your thoughts are regarding Monero. Now let's look at the king of all kings, that is Bitcoin. And the price of Bitcoin right now is $49,885. Now look, guys, I wouldn't be surprised once the inflation numbers are out later in the day. The price of Bitcoin could actually go down below the $45,000 mark, or it could just surpass the $60,000 mark as well. It's going to go towards extreme directions. Now since the last 24 hours, it is marginally up by 3.44%, and since the last 7 days, it is up by 17.11%. Ethereum, guys, is about the $2,600 mark. It is at $2,612. Since the last 24 hours, it is up by 4.11%. Since the last 7 days, it is up by 13.70%. Binance BNB Coin, guys, is at $323. Since the last 24 hours, it is up by 0.64%. And since the last 7 days, it is up by 7.65%. And look, guys, I'm really curious to check what the greed and fear index is when the CPI numbers are going to be out. And that would give us an indication on which direction the price of Bitcoin and the global cryptocurrency market is heading towards. Now, guys, let's discuss some news regarding Ethereum network new validators. And the Ethereum network, guys, is experiencing a surge in the number of validators looking to stake the Ethereum, with over 7,000 validators currently in the entry queue. And this backlog, guys, is expected to be cleared in just over 48 hours, representing over 225,000 Ether, which is roughly around $562 million. Now, despite the increase in staking activity, guys, it's really important to note that the annualized percentage yield on staked Ethereum remains unchanged. And what I think, guys, a lot of people are staking their Ethereum, that is in the anticipation that in May of 2024, a spot Ethereum will be approved, isn't it? Now, so far as this news is concerned, the waitlist for new Ethereum validators is now the largest since early October, and the renewed interest in staking is noteworthy as the yield on staked Ethereum remains below 4%. And guys, listen, Ethereum limits the number of new validators that can join the network per epoch, or the time it takes to process blocks on the blockchain, and this actually results in a backlog. And an Ethereum epoch, guys, is roughly around 6.4 minutes long. So what are your thoughts, guys? Why do you think there is a surge in the number of validators? I personally think it is only because of spot Ethereum ETF approval on the 23rd of May 2024. Let me know your thoughts on this. Now, guys, let's discuss some news from Philippines. Now look, guys, in 2016, Philippines had relatively high number of people using Bitcoin, but later on towards the years, the number of people using Bitcoin gradually went down. But now we have some positive news, I guess, in the world of cryptocurrencies. Although this news is not directly related to cryptocurrency, it is more to do with central bank digital currency. So the news essentially is that the Philippine Central Bank is not considering a retail version of digital currency due to concerns about potential bank run. However, guys, it is likely to issue a wholesale central bank digital currency within 2 years. And this information, guys, is according to Governor Eli Remolona Jr. Now, so far as this news is concerned, the CBDC will also not be based on blockchain or any distributed ledger technology, as according to the report, guys, central banks over the world have experienced severe problems when they were using it with blockchain technology. And Governor Eli Remolona Jr. stated that the decision was to develop wholesale rather than retail CBDC for the local market, and blockchain or distributed ledger technology won't be used. To be honest, guys, this does seem like a perfect move, particularly when you talk about central bank digital currency. Now look, guys, there are 3 different types of CBDCs. Retail CBDCs are actually dangerous ones, because what that will do is it will give the government or the state complete power over your spendings. They can even go ahead and completely block your transactions at will in just a matter of few seconds. But so far as wholesale CBDCs is concerned, implementing it is fine, because wholesale CBDCs are usually done to go ahead and settle financial transactions, let's say with banking industry and other financial institutions. So definitely positive news, I guess, even though it is not directly connected with cryptocurrency. And what I really like about this news, guys, is they are definitely not using blockchain technology, because look, when you talk about blockchain technology, there are definitely certain drawbacks, and I've often said this, it's really critical to understand the difference between open blockchain and permission blockchain, and there is nothing called as permission blockchain. The other word for permission blockchain is software. So it looks like the governor truly understands some of the benefits and drawbacks of blockchain technology. Now, guys, let's discuss some news from Crypto.com. And guys, in 2020, Crypto.com made several partnerships, isn't it? And the news is regarding the numbers that they have achieved because of the partnership. And Crypto.com's partnership with Formula 1 and UFC have boosted its growth in cryptocurrency market. and President Eric Anziani highlighted these deals, underscoring their role in enhancing global brand recognition. Now, there is a survey which is put out in the article, and the survey does give some numbers by ESPN that does actually state that a lot of people have actually gone and viewed Formula 1 and even UFC guys, and because of that, it has definitely created strong awareness among retail cryptocurrency users. Now, what the report by ESPN states that Formula 1 races average 1.11 million events and they have sold millions of pay-per-views. Now, listen, guys, in the article, they've also mentioned the fight between Khabib Nurmagomedov and Conor McGregor. Now, if I'm not mistaken, guys, the partnership by Crypto.com was definitely done after that fight, and after that fight, to be honest, guys, the pay-per-view numbers hasn't been that great, but what Crypto.com has done is they have gone ahead and taken those numbers and they have published that in the report as well. Most likely they are using these numbers to go ahead and convince their stakeholders that more people are watching UFC, and because of that, Crypto.com is in highlight. That's what I think, guys. And based on the report, guys, it states that overall these partnerships have expanded Crypto.com's reach and solidified its position in the industry. Now look, guys, I really am not sure, particularly in US, Crypto.com is favored over Coinbase. I'm pretty much sure Coinbase is definitely leading the pack. Maybe even Binance is still leading the pack in US and most of the Western countries and even Middle East. So those are some macro level news, guys, on the cryptocurrency and blockchain world. Now let's look at two news from Dubai, UAE and the Middle East. And the first news, guys, has to do with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And the news essentially is that the Hashgraph Association have announced major strategic partnership with the Ministry of Investment of Saudi Arabia. So let me go ahead and break down what this news is all about, because the partnership, guys, is worth $250 million, and this is spread across 5 years. And what they want to do is they want to go ahead and launch Deep Tech Venture Studio in Riyadh. And this news, guys, was announced during Swiss Economic Mission to Saudi Arabia in the presence of Swiss Federal Councillor Guy Parmelin. And the studio, guys, aims to foster innovation in Web3 technologies such as artificial intelligence, distributed ledger technology, robotics, Internet of Things, virtual reality and quantum computing as well. And Dr. Munira Al-Baudi of MESA, that is Ministry of Investment of Saudi Arabia, emphasized the importance of entrepreneurship for Saudi Vision 2030. And the studio, guys, that is Deep Tech Venture Studio, plans to onboard and empower over 500 companies during a 5-year program. And guys, MESA, that is Ministry of Investment of Saudi Arabia, will provide support in terms of entrepreneurial license, regulatory compliance, and connections with key stakeholders. And the Hashgraph Association, guys, has committed $50 million to the venture, seeking additional co-investors. And Kamal Yousefi, the president of the Hashgraph Association, expressed enthusiasm for the partnership and its contribution to Saudi Arabia's digital economy. And the studio, guys, will provide various support services including technical engineering, training, project delivery, and venture capital investment. And the program will be managed by the Hashgraph Group, which oversees the Hashgraph Innovation Program. And the partnership, guys, includes entrepreneurial exchange program to facilitate knowledge sharing. So definitely positive news, I guess. And so far as the studio is concerned, it will operate in 3 phases, focusing on local operations, acceleration and scaling. And startups qualifying for the program may receive $250,000 in investment. And Stefan Days, the co-founder and CEO of the Hashgraph Group, highlighted the potential for technological innovation. And guys, the Hashgraph Group will recruit local talent and form partnership with Saudi-based technology partners and academic institutions. And interested parties, guys, can register their interest on Deep Tech Venture Studio's registration webpage. And guys, MESA, that is Ministry of Investment of Saudi Arabia, are the ones who are overseeing investment affairs and policies in the kingdom. So Deep Tech Venture Studio is definitely something that you need to be looking at. And guys, since 2023, I've noticed that Saudi Arabia is definitely taking leaps and bounds, not just in artificial intelligence space, but also in metaverse and even in the sporting world, isn't it? So definitely positive news. Now, guys, let's discuss second news, and that is regarding World Government Summit that is taking place in Dubai. And UAE, guys, is betting aggressively on artificial intelligence, and they have actually published a report called as US UAE Business Council Report. So let me go ahead and share what this news is all about, because UAE's ambition, guys, is to be a global player. And this was actually highlighted at the World Government Summit 2024. And the focus, guys, was a strong collaboration between US and UAE in the world of artificial intelligence and business. And the report was launched by US UAE Business Council at the World Government Summit. And in that report, guys, it gives an overview of UAE's AI strategy and leading AI institution. An emphasis is placed on startups and AI experts. And Mohammed Al-Sharan emphasizes commitment to comprehensive national AI strategy and they focus on collaborative partnership and investment in research, education, and infrastructure as well, and they aim to shape a responsible AI ecosystem with principles of fairness, transparency, and more importantly, human-centric design. And Danny Seabrad, guys, sees artificial intelligence as a key player of UAE's economic development and opportunities for US tech giants and startups to leverage partnership in UAE's artificial intelligence ecosystem was also shared, and there will be promotion of AI research and development through a newly created AI task force. And Talal Akisi from Co42 were among the attendees at the launch. And guys, listen, the establishment of AI task force by the Business Council Digital Domain Working Group is definitely good in making these possible. And the task force, guys, is focusing on engaging UAE leadership, discuss international best practices and advocacy for responsible regulation of artificial intelligence. And the World Government Summit 2024, guys, hosted 4,000 participants from public and private sector, and there were 110 interactive sessions with 200 speakers from 85 international organizations, and there were also presence of Nobel Prize winners and 300 plus ministers at ministerial meeting, and there was also a launch of more than 25 strategic reports focusing on important practices and trends in vital sectors. And the look, so far as Dubai is concerned, Dubai is definitely aggressively working towards artificial intelligence, so it's going to be really interesting to see, let's say 3 to 5 years down the line, who turns out to be the leader in the world of artificial intelligence. But if I were to bet my money, guys, I will definitely put all my money in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So that's about all, guys, on the cryptocurrency, blockchain, and artificial intelligence world. And in case if you guys have any feedback or suggestions, drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. Check out my website www.blockchaindxb.com, and also check out my other website area2071.com that talks everything about metaverse. And guys, if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Now for the next few minutes, it's going to be an Ask Me Anything series where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and metaverse. So let's kick start with the Ask Me Anything series. Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB. You're listening to the Ask Me Anything series, where your listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and metaverse. I have a question by Sam who asks, do you think we may see a dump in the crypto market based on CPI numbers? Now look, Sam, it's really important to note that we truly understand what the CPI numbers are. Now what I'd really recommend our listeners to do is, the only website to look at the inflation numbers is bls.gov. And that is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Now it's really important to note that the inflation numbers is only for US, not the other part of the world, but the CPI numbers has a massive impact on the price of Bitcoin and the global cryptocurrency market, isn't it? Now since the last few months, the CPI has been going down, that is the inflation numbers has been going down, but you need to compare the CPI numbers with what Jerome Powell's decision making is. And in the FOMC meeting that happened a few weeks ago, he clearly stated that he does plan to continue to keep the interest rate high and may not necessarily reduce the interest rate hike. So what you need to do is, Sam, you need to look at the CPI numbers, because based on the CPI numbers, Jerome Powell will be going ahead and making a decision whether he wants to go ahead and increase or reduce the interest rate hike. Now here's what I think. If the CPI numbers are the same, let's say at 3%, I'm pretty much sure that Jerome Powell will keep the interest rate unchanged. He will definitely not go ahead and reduce the interest rate hike. And if that thing happens, I'm pretty much sure the price of Bitcoin and the global cryptocurrency market will definitely be taking a hit. But let's say if the CPI numbers go down drastically, let's say from 3% to 2%, I highly doubt that would be possible. In that case, I do have this feeling that the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency would actually pump up, because that gives an indication that the US economy is doing great. Now, knowing the notorious history of the Biden administration, I wouldn't be surprised if there is misleading, incorrect information being put out so far as inflation numbers is concerned, because in the CPI numbers, guys, it also looks at labor and supply numbers. Now, so far as the labor and supply is concerned, a lot of Americans have actually taken up a second job, and what they are doing in the number now is they are taking the second job as a completely new job, and because of that, the labor market is looking good, and because of that, the inflation numbers are impacted indirectly. So to answer your question, if the CPI numbers, let's say, are 3%, I do think that the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency might actually go down. But let's say if the CPI numbers goes drastically down, let's say by 2%, then I do see there'll be a massive pump in the price of Bitcoin. I wouldn't be surprised if the price of Bitcoin crosses the $60,000 mark in just a matter of days. So we'll just have to wait and see, to be honest. And I'd really recommend our listeners to do is, rather than listening to mainstream media, look at information from the first source. And the only website to look at the inflation numbers is www.bls.gov. So the episode that I release tomorrow, I'll definitely go ahead and touch base on the inflation numbers, because look, based on the inflation numbers, the interest rate is decided, and those are the factors you need to take into consideration, and that directly or indirectly has an impact on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now, ideally speaking, Sam, these numbers should not be making any impact on the price of Bitcoin, isn't it? Now, when will that thing happen? I really am not sure, because one of the visions of Satoshi Nakamoto was separation of money and the state. I wouldn't be surprised if it takes at least a couple of decades where these government policies or inflation do not make any impact on the price of Bitcoin. I wouldn't be surprised if that thing never happens as well, but definitely an interesting question. And that's about all, guys, from the Ask Me Anything series and Blockchain DXB. In case if you guys have any feedback or suggestions, drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. Check out my website www.blockchaindxb.com, and also check out my other website area2071.com that talks everything about metaverse. And guys, if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. And remember, guys, Monday to Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. we have Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and metaverse. And how the series of episodes under Crypto and Coffee at 8 works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other two news and information is related to Dubai, UAE, and Middle East in the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and metaverse. And what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where your listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and metaverse. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and have a nice one. Bye-bye.